The easiest way to know you're in the wrong circle or that you've outgrown your surroundings is that when you talk about your accomplishments, it feels like you're bragging, but it's not even because that's your intent. You're trying to brag or that you're trying to put anybody else down. It's only because of how they react, which is not within your control. Now, today we're going to talk about two different things that I've noticed, and if you're aware of it, you will work your way into a stronger circle, just like I have a circle of people making millions and millions of dollars. But not only that, ultimately what we're looking for, they're good people, and that's what you want. You want to be surrounded by good people. Okay, and the first thing, the first sure tell sign that you are in the wrong circle is if you're consistently thinking, I'm surrounded by idiots. Now, you may have thought of that just like that. You've probably literally said, I'm surrounded by idiots, man, this sucks. Or maybe you've said it in a nicer way. Either way, you've thought the same thing. Okay, and this may actually be true. You might truly be surrounded by idiots. Let me explain though, because there's more to it. But you might actually be surrounded by idiots. And this is how you know when it feels like you're bragging, you're talking about your accomplishments instead of saying, hey, wow, how did you do that? Or wow, that's awesome, man. I'm happy for you. Instead of saying that, they say things like, wow, hey, look at this guy, big shot now. Or things like that. You know what I mean? It's the sarcastic, it's the joking, and sometimes it is a joke, and that jokes are fine. There's nothing wrong with a joke, but there's always some kind of truth to it. They're never actually curious. They don't care. They don't push you up so that you can pull them up with you. They don't care what you do because to them it doesn't matter, right? This is how you know you're truly surrounded by idiots. But I want to put the opposite side of the opposite side of the spectrum, give you a different perspective. If it is your business and you feel like you're surrounded by idiots, whose fault is that? Because it's your business. Yes, that is your fault. If you are actually surrounded by idiots and you have a level of control of it, you can either leave or you've built this team of idiots. You are the leader of idiots. That is nobody else's fault except for you. And I mean, this might be coming off a little bit harsh, and I can already say it. I'm going to put that as a thumbnail. I'm surrounded by idiots. May or may not work, but I don't know. We'll see. I feel like it will. You're here, so it worked. But think about it on both sides. If you are surrounded by idiots, your option is to leave, go to a new town, a new city, whatever you got to do. Or you need to be honest with yourself. You're not doing a great job of leading anybody. You are the leader of idiots. You're the supreme idiot. That's what you are. Now, here's the thing though. If you are always the smartest person in the room, if you're always the best person on the team, you're never growing for yourself either. And this is the opposite side of it where, yes, you might be surrounded by idiots, but whose fault is that? That's nobody else's fault but you. And if this is what you're thinking, you better make sure, because I know I have this personality too where I like information. I like to know things. I don't like to do things poorly, which means a lot of the times my first instinct is to think I'm surrounded by idiots when I'm really not. I might actually be the person who's wrong. I might be the idiot, which is okay as long as I understand that, as long as I acknowledge that and I know there's something that I need to learn. But here's the thing, fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to others. If you are the smartest person in the room, you're never growing. If you're the best person on the team, you're never getting better. You have control over this unless you're not aware of it. You need to be aware that you should not be the smartest person in the room, and it's only the fools who always think that they're right. So if this is what you're surrounded with, people who always think that they're right, people who are never willing to change their minds, then you're in the wrong circle. And I've been asked this question. I think I've only been asked this question maybe once or twice, but I know it was a very good question. Somebody asked me, hey, if I could prove to you with absolute certainty that you are wrong, would you change your mind? And that seems like an obvious question. It should be an obvious question. But the reality is, even though you should say, yes, I would change my mind, most people won't. Because there's a fine line between your ego and the truth. And most people are not willing to let go of their ego. I would rather be the dumbest person in the room, but eager to learn, that, that way I can grow. There's only one way to go up now. If I'm the dumbest person in the room, I can only go up. But it's also, if you're going to lead anybody, if you're going to build a business as a Christian, if as a business owner, if you're in the church, you're at school, you're in the workplace, no matter where you are, unless you plan to be a follower for the rest of your life, you should be looking at how to become a better leader. And that requires you to understand that if you're surrounded by idiots, that might be your fault. If you're the idiot, that's okay. Just go and learn. Ask questions. Be the dumb person. Okay, now, the second thing, and we're just going to go through these. This might be a shorter video today, but the second thing is that if you're in the wrong circle, how you know you found the right circle is that you should notice a shift in your thinking. And the way I always like to put it, when I'm bringing a new person on, onboarding a new person, we're getting them started, we're training them up, bringing on a new business partner, we talk about teamwork quite often, actually. We talk about teamwork. It's one of the first things that we talk about. It's one of the values that we hold, because we're not looking for individuals here. We really aren't, because here's the truth. If you have goals that can be accomplished on your own, if your dreams can be accomplished on your own, they're not big enough. Your dreams should be so big, your goal should be so big that it takes a team to accomplish it. Right? That's how big your goal should be, which means you do need to surround yourself with the right people. And the right people, the right circle, should expand your thinking. What you used to think was possible is now just like something you just check it off a box. Yeah, it's easy now. And for me, I noticed this, that I was in the right circle. I always knew because of the values that we held. But I noticed my own shift of thinking when I was looking at Zillow, because Zillow, I swear, is like, it's one of my social media apps. I just scroll through and I look at houses that I can't afford yet. But I noticed the shift in my thinking where I was looking at this house that costs, I forget what the total cost was, but the monthly expense was like 15 grand a month. And I can't afford, let me be clear, I can't afford that now. But my initial thought was, oh, that's not that bad. Because in my business, that means I just need to help, 5 families a month, which is a little more than one person a week, maybe 6 in a month. And now I've personally produced, in just commissions alone, probably around 15 grand a month. And so here's where I'm going with this. Before, when I was working minimum wage, which wasn't very long because I couldn't stand it. I wasn't working because I needed it. I was like, okay, let me go work. Let me go do something with my time while I have it. I never would have thought that. I never would have thought, oh, that's not that bad. What I did do, though, when I did think that, where I need to head this, and I need to get to the point before I lose your attention, I said, oh, that's not that bad. But then I started thinking of solutions. Instead of thinking, oh, that's too much, I started, okay, how can I get there? I started thinking of different ways to get there, different solutions. I've already thought of it. It is actually about 6-7 people a month. If I just do that, if I just help 6 families a month, I should be able to, make that work. But I've also thought about on different ways. So I've thought of different options. I could do it on my own, or if I have a good solid team of 10, I could produce probably, and we're all helping 5 families a month, I'd probably be producing like 30 grand a month. Right? So these are the different, I don't know if those numbers were 100% accurate, but the thing is, the right people, the right circle, they don't think in terms of, no, I can't do that. Yes, I can do that. If it's ever, yes, I can, then great. Okay. But if it's ever no, which it never is, it's never a no. It's always a question of, okay, instead of saying no, how can I? Right? How can we do this? It's always solution oriented. That is how you know you found the right circle. And maybe that was kind of a silly example where I'm scrolling through Zillow, but that truly was. I was scrolling through Zillow like 30 minutes before recording this video. But the most important thing is your mind. I read this quote one time. I forget where it was. I believe, actually, I'm not even going to say. I'll put it in the description if I find it. But So, there was a quote that says, everything is created twice, first in your mind and then in reality. Everything is created twice, first in your mind, then in reality. Because your mind is the most important thing about you. You don't have anything if you don't have your mind. Your brain controls everything. Everything you think turns into words, turns into actions, and that is your life. You are your innermost thoughts. Even in scriptures, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. There's another one, guard your heart above all else. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. That means guard your heart, guard your mind. It's not literally talking about your heart, but guard your mind, because that's where everything flows through. And whatever determines your thoughts, whatever influences your mind, whatever influences how you think, determines how you act, determines your results, which determines everything else after that. Your mind is the most important thing. Rich people are not special, they just think differently. Winners are not special, they just think differently. Kobe, he was not special. He just thought differently. And his thoughts turned into actions. That's what made him special. So I guess maybe he was special. I don't know, but hopefully you see what I'm saying. It's your mind that everything follows your mind. Everything is created twice, first in your mind, then in reality. So what you need to first prioritize, if you're trying to find the right circle, if you're in the wrong circle, you need to examine, how do these people think? Are they confident? Because if they're confident, you will be the next confident person, right? You are the average of the 5 people around you, or whatever it is. I'm sure you've heard that saying. You are the average of the people around you. So surround yourself with the right people. This is not an option. This needs to be a priority. And this is going to be a shorter video today, because actually that's all I have right now. But I was just thinking about this because I've seen people struggling, and then I look at their circle. I'm training all these people, and I'm working with clients, and I'm working with new team members who are just trying to add another income. But then I look at, they're struggling, and then I mean, you have to find out why. Why are you struggling? Why am I struggling? 9 times out of 10, what I've found is that it comes down to the people that they're around. And there are solutions to that, as I think we've discussed. There needs to be some kind of commonality if you want to build something great. Okay, it all starts with the circle. But if this has helped you at all, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you did or didn't like. I'm open to suggestions. But either way, I'll see you in the next video. All right.